Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. We decided to organize the videos in the channel and discuss more important topics. Today, I'm going to talk about all the threads that we have to talk about Gojo Satoru's return to the story. Stay with me. That this video contains spoilers. Also, all the topics that we are going to talk about today are only theoretical. We start from the beginning, where the story began, where Gojo Satoru was killed by Sukuna. Chapter 236. Gojo is known as the strongest magician of the present age, in contrast to the greatest magician of history, Sukuna, the scariest killer in history. Someone who massacres others just for fun and enjoys it. The biggest Jujutsu Kaisen fight was amazing and full of tips. But what we are going to talk about is this scene, where in utter disbelief, even though Gojo was completely superior to Sukuna in the fight, he lost. We all know that all this was just playing the role of Sukuna. Sukuna didn't even use 30% of his power against Gojo, and this goes back to Sukuna's character. He likes to play with his food for fun, and finally kills it. Anyway, Gojo lost this battle and caused a lot of destruction after his death. That Sukuna is now absolute power and no one can stop it. After Gojo's death, Sukuna became his original form, and this was the beginning of the story. But what about Satoru Gojo? Is he really dead? Let's see. Satoru Gojo had already been temporarily removed from the Jujutsu Kaisen story. This is what we know. The author of Jujutsu Kaisen has already mentioned that Gojo prevents the continuation of the story. He is very strong, and there are things that maybe no one knows about him yet. In Arc Shibuya, he is left out of the story to give others a chance to show themselves. But in the absence of Gojo, many Jujutsu sorcerers were killed. There were many problems that no one expected, completely similar to what happens after Gojo's death. This was the first thread of the story. We all know that no one but Gojo can stop Sukuna. It is true that he is not the one who can defeat Sukuna, because the only person who can do it is the main character of the Jujutsu Kaisen story, Yuji. But without Gojo, the story will not progress. After Gojo, a large number of Jujutsu sorcerers were either killed by Sukuna or injured to such an extent that the probability of their survival is low. Gojo has already failed by a person named Toji Fushiguro. The second clue is here. Gojo lost the fight there and was almost killed, but we saw that he was able to survive using reverse cursed technique. Gojo emphasized that Toji Fushiguro would lose that fight because he did not cut Gojo's head. He said that as long as my head is not separated from my body, I can still use reverse cursed technique. What we also saw in chapter 236. Gojo was seriously injured, but Sukuna did not cut off Gojo's head. Gojo was able to increase the speed of using reverse cursed technique after using Black Flash. It's true. It may take a long time for him to restore his body again, but it is not impossible. The third clue. We will find the next clue when we see that Yui is collecting corpses and wounded bodies from the battlefield. Maybe many people don't know, but the power that this young boy uses is very strong. Its power is teleport. It means that he can teleport to a faraway place whenever he wants. But that's not all, because we see that the body of Gojo Satoru and Kusakabe and even Yuta are not in the battlefield. In another scene, we see that actually Yui is taking the bodies of Jujutsu sorcerers with him. But where? Yes, you're right. Shoko, she's the clue. Let's not forget that Shoko is one of the main characters in the Jujutsu Kaisen story. Along with Gojo and Geto, are three people who have a great impact on our story. Geto showed himself and took a path that might be wrong or maybe right, but anyway, it showed himself in our story. On the other hand, we have Gojo, which goes without saying. But what about Shoko? We haven't seen anything special about her in the story yet. Unlike the others, she is weak in combat. For this reason, she focused all her efforts to be able to use the reverse cursed technique in the best possible way. She's insane of using reverse cursed technique. On the other side of the story, we also saw that Yui takes the body of the rest of the Jujutsu to Shoko with the ability to teleport. As you know, there was no news of Gojo's body in the battlefield. And finally, the clue that I think is very important is the many similarities between the story of Jujutsu Kaisen and the story of Buddha. In Jujutsu Kaisen, we often hear scenes as well as sentences that are directly related to the stories of the Buddha. On the one hand, we have Buddha, who makes wrong decisions because of his pride. We saw that Gojo made fun of Sukuna many times in the fight, because he thought he was stronger than Sukuna. But on the other side, Sukuna didn't say anything, because we all knew that Gojo was too proud of himself. He was born as the strongest and always knew himself alone, because he thought that he is alone because he is strong. What he was trying to show Sukuna, but Sukuna has not felt anything for a long time. Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe the channel that makes me feels good about the video, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it. Don't go anywhere cause we will be back soon.